Here comes blood and here comes drought. Please don't scream and please don't shout. Say your prayers but don't freak out. It's just the end of the world.
Hey everybody, welcome to Apocalypse is Now, the podcast where we watch the end of the world over and over again. My name is Ron,
My name is Morgan,
and his name is Morgan,
and his name is Ron.
and welcome to Apocalypse is Now, the podcast where we watch the end.
We
I'm
keep
sorry.
going around in circles. It's like Groundhog Day.
So welcome if this is your first time listening. This is the podcast where we watch apocalypse movies and talk about them because the world seems to be ending every other day or so. Something could be a candidate for that old apocalyptic scenario. Before we go any further into the actual podcast, I want to talk about how I felt today because I thought my world was going to end at a particular moment.
Oh dear.
I didn't think I was going to die, but my worldview was almost shattered. Morgan, would you care to take a guess what happened?
It's not like, is it the actual bad thing that happened in the news today, or is it like a funny thing?
Oh no, it's a funny thing. What bad thing happened in the news? See what I'm
Never
talking
mind.
about, guys?
Never
Every
mind.
day.
It's not like an end of the world thing. I have no idea what is your actual worldview ending thing that happened today. I have no guesses.
Are you aware of stroopwafel?
Yes, I am aware of stroopwafel.
So the gym I work at, we sell stroopwafel as like one of our snacks, and I hadn't tried it before, and I was a little peckish today, so I tried one for the first time. It was like this really thick. For those of you that aren't familiar, it's a wafer with caramel put in the middle, so that when you bite into it, it's a satisfying heavy in your stomach. I checked the calories on the back, and it said 150, and I was like, oh, dope. So I ate one, and then an hour later, I got another. And then, like an hour before this recording, I had another. And I was like, you know what? 450 calories, that's pretty bad. But hey, I've been pretty good recently. And then I was finishing the last bite of the last waffle. And then it kind of like broke in two. And then I looked at the back of the wrapper and it said 150 calories per serving, 2 servings per wrapper. And I was like, wait, hold on. I ate 900 calories in cookies today? What's happening? Who does that? What about you? How did your world end today, Morgan?
My world began today. I
Oh.
was born anew.
In the beginning, there was Morgan.
And then everything went downhill from there.
Yeah, so the apocalypse movie we're talking about today, supposedly, is the 2020 film Love and Monsters, directed by Michael Matthews. And the top billing is Dylan O'Brien. You might know him from Maze Runner or other things that I don't know right now. Morgan, you want to give us a quick synopsis?
Yeah,
of
well,
the
the first and most important thing, which is what my girlfriend said when I told her that we watched this movie, is she was like, "Oh yeah, it has that guy," and I was like, "Yeah, Dylan O'Brien," and she was like, "Oh yeah, the cutie, he's a cutie." So the first and most important thing is that he's Dylan O'Brien is a cutie, and I think we should keep that in mind for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
So we got this cutie, and the apocalypse is that there was an asteroid headed for Earth, and so Earth like sent out all these missiles to blow up the asteroid, but then the fallout from the missiles caused animals on Earth to mutate into these big old monsters, and then the monsters kill off all of humanity. So in trying to prevent the apocalypse, we cause the apocalypse, which feels right. And there's this dude, this cutie, who lives in a bunker, and he was separated from his girlfriend when he was being evacuated from his hometown of Fairfield, California. And he recently got back in contact with her over radio. So after a sort of tragic event in the beginning of the movie, he decides he's going to go and try to go to where she's staying, this other colony, but it's very dangerous to travel over the surface, so he's going to have to fight his way through monsters and stuff, which he's never been very good at the bunker that he stays at. He's just kind of the cook, so he sets off on this journey to find his former girlfriend.
Yeah, and we got a scared cutie. He
Yeah.
freezes. That's what we find out early in the movie. We got a freezing cutie. I also take it back. I do know him from other things other than Maze
Well, he
Runner.
was on Teen Wolf.
Well, sure, but he's also Jake Gyllenhaal.
This is true. Yes, our friend the cutie has recently been in the news. Did you see he did there was an interview where somebody was like asking him, because like everybody knows it's about Jake Gyllenhaal, but like Taylor is not like explicitly saying that it's about Jake Gyllenhaal, but everybody knows. So him and Taylor Swift were being interviewed on the red carpet, and the interviewer was like asking Taylor about Jake Gyllenhaal, and she had this like very diplomatic response where she was like, "Oh well, you know, these songs belong to everybody now," and it was a very like well rehearsed response to this. And then they asked Dylan O'Brien, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, my character is named Brandon." It was really good. He's like, "Oh, I don't know.
What
I don't
a
know.
cutie.
I'm
What a
just
cutie.
trying to give Brandon his full due, you know."
He seems like a solid dude.
Seems all right. If he does anything problematic before we release this episode, we take everything back.
Hold on, I'm looking up Dylan O'Brien. Problematic.
Making sure we're good. We're in the clear.
This is a line about Dylan O'Brien and an article written about him called "Rebooting Dylan O'Brien," and just there's this line that says, "Oh no, I've lost it. I've lost the line. I cannot find it. I scrolled too much." Okay, here it is. He was progressive without the "I'm a He was progressive without the "I'm a male feminist" energy.
I mean, we're just saying he's a cutie. He might be a morally bankrupt cutie, but he is a cutie.
I've seen. I don't know.
I think we're good. I think we're in the clear. Let's keep going.
The apocalypse we're talking about here, and you mentioned that it turns animals big, but when I was doing research in the movie, it's specifically cold-blooded animals, which adds a rule, which I think is cool. And also, like when I look back at the movie, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess they were all cold-blooded, because there were no giant dogs or giant cats or giant birds. One of my questions when we watched it is like, how did this affect humans? And it just didn't. It only affected cold-blooded animals.
Interesting. Oh, are insects technically cold-blooded?
I guess so. I guess so.
Wild. Doing a little research.
They got them cold veins, some freeze juice. They got slushy veins. Yeah.
Because there's for sure some giant insects in there, right?
You know, I'm trying to. There was a giant centipede.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, I wouldn't call it a kaiju movie, but it is a monster apocalypse. So kind of in the tradition of like.
Yes.
You got me? I can't think of any monster movies, right? King Kong is kind of in the tradition of like.
I thought you maybe like thought that I said something, so you were pausing to let me talk. But no, you just couldn't think of a single other movie with big monsters. One of the most prolific movie genres in history.
In my head, I visualized.
You visually visualized?
Yes, I visualized that I wordlessly passed you the baton and I was just waiting for you to take it. So if anything, I weirdly felt let down, even though that was all on me.
Yeah. If this was like the beginning of the Olympics where they're like passing the torch around, you would have just like hurled that torch at me and I would have like, dodged, and it would have set the arena on fire.
And I would have been like, Morgan, what the heck? Why didn't you catch that?
I would have been like, you threw it at my fucking head.
Yeah, and you're at the Olympics.
That's what they do at the Olympics. This is Olympic head torch throwing. Duh.
So this is slightly different from movies like King Kong or Jurassic Park or Godzilla, because in King Kong, like unless I'm mistaken, they go to Skull Island and he's just there, like he's a byproduct of nature. Godzilla, I don't remember Godzilla's origins.
Well, Godzilla, the original Godzilla, they changed it for the new movies. But the original Godzilla was actually a result of nuclear energy.
Okay, so Godzilla is the closest then, I guess, because both Godzilla and the creatures in this film are the byproducts of our technological advances
Yeah,
for the sake of humanity or whatever.
yeah.
There's something refreshing about the monsters in this movie, though, because I don't know about you, but I didn't get some ham fisted abstraction of like, oh, this is a metaphor for whatever. It was just like, dope. There's like monsters now.
I'm all on board for a good metaphor and a good theme. But I think it was more interested in the setup to just like follow the emotional journey of this character. And it managed to be somehow like light without sacrificing like emotional engagement. Like there's a lot of heart to the movie. So I think not dragging it down into some like ham-fisted metaphor probably helps with that.
I feel compelled to say now on record that I also enjoy metaphors. I'm not taking a dig at metaphors. It's just that that's not what this movie needed, which is what you're saying. I think when they were pitching it, they described it as like in the vein of Mad Max meets Zombieland and Jurassic Park, but at the heart of it is a John Hughes love story. Right? It's not
Ooh.
really about the monsters. It's about the cutie like finding himself, finding his legs in the world as he goes after the love of his life. The
Yeah.
monsters are just the obstacles in the way.
Yeah, it's about this guy's journey, traditional hero's journey, I'd say.
Yeah, you know, he's a hero. He journeys. He definitely learns.
That is what Joseph Campbell wrote in his seminal
Yeah.
book, Joe Campbell's Myth
Yeah.
Madness, or whatever it was called.
Myth Madness. It's when all the different archetypes compete in brackets to see which one comes out on top. Take your bets.
Yeah, it's my favorite time of year.
I love that scene when Cutie's unconscious stares into the collective unconscious, changed forever, and becomes both more and less himself. Yeah, typical hero's journey, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I was going nowhere after that. Were you going somewhere that I interrupted?
No, I felt like you were going somewhere that I interrupted. So we
Oh,
both
shit.
were just going nowhere and fucked each other up, huh?
Yeah. Isn't that, boy, if I had a nickel.
How do you think you'd navigate this apocalypse? Do you think you'd die? Do you think you would die?
Do you think you die or that you die? Okay, so here is a thought that I had. Well, I don't know. I guess they kind of justify it in the movie. But one of the things that happens in the movie, spoilers. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we should say at the beginning of every episode that like we're not going to worry that much about spoilers. So spoilers. But like part of the thing that happens at the end of the movie is that he's like, you know, he's found his strength and he can leave the bunker and he's not afraid of going out. And so he sends out like a radio message to everybody being like, if I can do it because I'm so lame and I could do it, then you can do it too. And then there's all this footage of all these different people leaving their bunkers. I gotta say, I feel like, especially for some people, staying in the bunker is probably a pretty good idea. Like, I don't know that a bunker is a bad idea in this apocalypse. Like, it makes sense for his emotional journey, but I was a little like, there was a shot of like a couple, like an older couple leaving, and I was like, well, but he's like 23, and like I don't know. There's a bunch of giant insects out there. I don't know that a bunker is a terrible idea.
Well, also, it's not like Cutie saying, "Hey, come up to the surface. Let's start some farms together, y'all." He's earlier in a halfway point in the film. Cutie runs into Michael Rooker, who I'm going to call Yondu because that's what y'all will likely know him from. Yondu and this young girl. I'm going to call her Scrapper because she's real scrappy. I'll call her Scrappy. So Yondu and
Scrappy and Yondu.
Yeah, so Cutie runs into Scrappy and Yondu, who have been walking the surface for a while, and they have all these names for the creatures, and they have all these tips and rules, like you can't have both, in terms of you can't have both a hot meal and also a good night's rest, because the hot meal will attract said giant insects. But halfway through the film, before they part ways again after bonding, they invite him along to kind of safe haven, supposedly up in the mountains. So my interpretation of that ending, when he was telling people, "Hey, come up to the surface," I thought he was inviting them to meet at that safe haven. And even if not that, to at least group up and have strength in big numbers.
Yeah. And not just be so afraid that they're
Gobbled up.
isolating themselves from a community that they could potentially join. Yeah, I know, but I did have a little moment where I was just like, I feel like for some people, making that journey would maybe not be a good idea. So, what was your initial question? How long would I survive in this? How would I survive in this apocalypse?
I think I said, how would you handle it?
Oh, okay. I could chill in a bunker for a while. Well, one of the things I liked about the movie is that the monsters weren't. See, now this is going to get me into a whole rant. Okay, you ready? You ready for the rant? Are you ready for the rant?
Yes.
Are you ready for the rant?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, so the rant is that one of the things I really love about the original Jurassic Park movie, which is probably one of my favorite movies, is that the dinosaurs, while they like cause all this mayhem and destruction, there's no point where they don't act like animals. The closest thing to like malice in the animals is like velociraptors, but that's just because they're like really good hunters and they're really smart, but they just want to eat, you know. And there's also some really beautiful moments where they like meet the brachiosaurus and stuff like that. So it's like you get the wonder of nature and then the terror of nature, but at no point do the animals like seem like they're just out to get you or whatever. They just act like animals. And one of the things I hated about the new Jurassic World was it didn't feel like that. I don't know. It felt like they were like monsters and not just animals that were like trying to eat or trying to make their way from one place to another. So something I really liked about this movie was they did the same kind of thing where like the mutated monsters just felt like animals, and some of them were out to get you because they wanted to eat you, and some of them were just chilling, and as long as you didn't bother them, they wouldn't bother you. And what this all was leading to was, I think if I was in that world, I'd try to figure out more about the like non-aggressive animals and maybe like how to utilize them and live in harmony with them.
Yeah, Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, directed by James Gunn, said in this movie that you can tell the good ones from the bad ones through their eyes.
Yeah.
And Cutie actually exploits that in the climax of the film. Uh,
Good.
Utilizes that in the
Climax. Hey, everybody. He laughed because it's climax like an orgasm.
Whoa!
Like you're like a climax is also a word for an orgasm, but it's also a word you use when you're talking about a movie, so it's funny.
Dude, it's so baller you said orgasm on the recording.
You're welcome. See, we're a boundary pushing podcast, baby.
Yeah, we push how often we can bleep within 30 seconds.
Yep. It's not for the kids, this one.
No, this ain't your mama's podcast.
Oh no, we're living on the edge.
Yeah, you know what? Our podcast just got monsterfied by those rocket molecules. Just like the cold blood. Our podcast is a cold-blooded animal.
Yeah, this one's a mutant.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Podcast.
Yeah, mutated my balls. So they're real big. What if the apocalypse was, instead of mutating all the animals into monsters, what if it just gave everybody really big balls?
When you say everybody,
I mean everybody. I've rendered him speechless.
Yeah, that's the first time this has happened in a long time. I really don't know what to say to
All
you, to the audience. I know, actually, no, to the audience, I know what to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we're here.
Yeah,
I'm sorry you had to hear that.
Sorry we're doing this. Sorry that you're listening to it.
What if it gave everyone a third ball?
A third? Oh, a third ball. I thought you meant like a third, like made everybody into a polycule, like three, like a thruple.
I mean, Here's the thing, right? Is that if everyone has huge balls, that's something people would notice and talk would happen immediately. Third ball though, everyone's gonna be weird for a few days and kind of like not look at their friend.
Everybody's gonna be like, "Hey, no, you know what? Never mind."
Yeah, no, wait, what?
No, I just
What?
there's this. No, you know what? It's probably nothing. Probably just me.
Are we the same?
Are am I not alone?
When I was reading interviews with with Cutie, with Jake Gyllenhaal for this movie,
Yes,
Love and
with
Monsters,
with
directed by
Brandon.
yeah, um, they asked him how serendipitous it was they filmed this because when this movie came out, it was in the middle of when America at least was still in a lockdown
Mm-hmm.
and bunkers, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it's serendipitous." I mean, the ending isn't quite the same in terms of like, "Hey, screw the rules and the norm, get out there anyway." That doesn't quite work one to one.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of serendipitous. And in terms of you talking about like, no, stay in the bunkers, we both watched 10 Cloverfield Lane, which we will watch again and talk about again in a future
Mm-hmm.
episode. People be getting those bunker blues. You and I
This is
have talked
true.
about those bunker blues. We
This is
get them
true.
basement blues, the bonkers, the basement bonkers, the bunker blues, whatever you want to
The
call it.
basement, the bonkers,
The
the basement
the
bonker blues.
yeah, the basement bonker
The
blues.
basement bonker big ball blues.
The basement bonker big third ball blues.
Never letting this go. Just like my balls.
I got my hands on them right now.
Always. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean it is true. I mean it's the question, which is just like, get a little nutty, in a bunker. Oh, I liked the rhythm of that. That felt good coming out of the mouth. Get a little nutty in a bunker.
Hey, audience, shut up. We're gonna go record right now. We'll be right back.
Get a little nutty in a bunker.
Bunker!
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 What is that? Is it a small child?
It's my falsetto.
Oh, my hype man is a 5-year-old.
Get him, Morton! Yeah!
Bunker. That'd be really funny, actually, to just have like a really like hard like trap song, but the hype man is just like a little boy.
That's what's up! Money!
Skirt,
Money! Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's record it. Yeah, it's just a question of like, is getting the risk assessment of like getting out of the bunker to like keep yourself from like going nutso, or to, but you also have the risk of getting eaten by a big monster, which is pretty relatable actually to our current situation.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why we both found it so refreshing, right? Is that we could somehow relate to these circumstances, but the tone and vibe. I mean, it was dangerous and I was definitely stressed out at points, but because the heart of the story was a love story,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't fearing world ending
Right.
stakes. So we could
Right.
kind of connect to something we related to, but not in this same anxiety ridden way
Yeah.
we have been for the last couple years. Oh my
Yeah.
God, last couple years. Anyway.
Oh, doesn't that just send a shiver up your spine to say?
Like when we were messaging back and forth after the movie, we were like, I feel like this is a good bar for mainstream movies. I don't see a lot of apocalyptic movies where they don't take themselves too seriously. And that's what I think
Mhm.
is going on here, is that it's not like taking itself too seriously. It's definitely not, goofing around or anything. It's not doing a bad job. But it's like, here's the context, here's the here's how the world's ending, but here's the story we want to tell in it. So I think they were just super intentional with the character, the story, the direction. I just felt really taken care of when we were watching it.
Yeah, agree. And I think I said this somewhat earlier, but like to go more detail on it, I thought it was a really good balance, because I think it's like you said, they didn't get goofy about it either, which like I really appreciated, because I think that the tendency in a lot of stuff like this is to just go so far into the sort of like ironic direction that nothing feels like it has weight, which also can be easier because you don't have to worry about like balancing emotional sincerity with the like comedy and lightness of it. You know, you can just be like, yeah, millions of people died, but it's all ironic and detached, so like we don't have to worry about that. And this is a really good job because like it had some really like pretty they gave the fact that like you know uh 3/4 of the world's population or whatever has died. They gave that like weight without it dragging the movie down, you know? Like they gave the
Yeah.
fact that like the people in this and the main character have like lost everybody close to them. Um, they gave that space without making the movie like super tragic or morose or anything like that, which is I think there are a lot of movies that are scared to do that, or like they don't know how to handle it well, and I always prefer that kind of sincerity to, well, almost always prefer that kind of sincerity to like wink wink, a bunch of people died but we don't give a fuck, you know.
I mean, we see it have an indelible effect on the main character from the very beginning. He freezes when he sees these monsters because he's traumatized. Because he, as we see directly in a flashback, like 2/3 of the way through the movie, he legit saw his parents crushed in front of him by one of these monsters.
Yeah,
Um, so
and
that's
that's
like,
scary shit.
oh my gosh, yeah. And also, I wanted to bring this up the whole time. When they were getting ready to pack, the mom shoves a chandelier into his hands and he holds on to it that whole fucking time.
Oh
What?
no, that
When
yeah
you're
that
packing up, why? Why a chandelier?
maybe it was a grandma's chandelier or something like that.
Okay.
But you know,
I
people,
just,
you know what? People do stupid shit when they're in situations like that. They're like, "What are we gonna save? This random thing."
yeah, okay. All right. You've given a lot of thought and empathy to these people while I have coldly analyzed them from a distance, my
Yeah,
fingertips
come on,
touching each
man.
other.
Do you? I mean, do you? I feel like I'd have
Mm.
at least one stupid thing that I'd grab if I were like in a situation where it's like, "Oh my god, we got to get to a bunker or whatever." I feel like I'd have at least
Yeah.
one where I'd just be like grabbing at shit and I'm like, this," and it's just like a mug or whatever.
Okay, here's a question. Cutie versus the robot from Pacific Rim. That's a good question.
Is it?
You don't like David and Goliath's story, do you? Yeah.
That's not
Yeah, you
that's a
don't get it.
it's not a David and Goliath. It's a much smaller thing and a much bigger thing.
It's a worm in Goliath.
It's a worm and the robot from fucking Pacific Rim. That's what it is.
Man, you're putting Cutie on the same level as a worm. That's disrespectful.
I'm sorry, cutie.
All right, this apocalypse, I'd say it's like what, 7 out of 10 destructive level. Planet's still around, structures are still around, people are just in bunkers, and they can even fight back. Okay, here's the thing though, is at the beginning when he was narrating, Cutie was talking about like even tanks couldn't take this shit down. He was
Hmm.
taking these motherfuckers out with like arrows, right? He took them out with
Okay.
arrows and grenades and
Okay, but here's the thing. He never encounters anything like what they encounter in the beginning. Because you remember like his parents are killed by like an insect that's like so big that it like smushes their entire car with one foot. So obviously during the movie he doesn't encounter like the biggest possible monsters.
yeah, it just felt like a setup that never came to fruition other than in the flashback. Because
True.
that was part of the threat of going to the surface. It's like, man, we couldn't even have tanks take some of these things down. But then
Yeah, that is true.
everyone's like, "Oh, you're going to the surface? You're going to the surface? You're gonna die, man. No one's lasted more than however many days."
Yeah.
And then I mean, I guess that's also the point. Is that part of that is the fear mongering of living in the bunkers? Is like, oh, we don't
Yeah.
stand a chance, and the truth is, you do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also like part of the, I guess, part of the contrast between the people who live in the bunkers and Yondu and Scrappy is that like since they live on the surface, they know all the ins and outs, they know all the like strategies, whereas like the
Yeah,
people who live in the bunkers are just like, oh shit, there's a thing, shoot at it, you know.
yeah.
So if you're a little more knowledgeable about like how things work and exactly what you got to do to like survive against certain things, then you're going to do better.
I just so for the audience, Cutie has a journal that he keeps a log of all the creatures he runs into and their weaknesses, and he disseminates that via radio to all these people who are listening, who he's encouraging to go to the surface. I'm imagining a scenario where like the tips get weirder and weirder, and he's like, "All right, you got a spinodactyl, and to kill it, you've got to tickle its butthole." And people are like, "What? What?" It's like, "Yeah, and if that doesn't work, try licking its armpit." It's like,
No,
do
I don't know
we?
about this. Sorry, everybody. That one, that last one was just a little joke.
Is it time?
It's time for
Unkillable.
the unkillable. It's time for the unkillable being, I think.
The Unkillable Being.
Morden, what's the unkillable being?
So the unkillable being is a being that we are creating as every episode goes by. Anytime we encounter our new apocalypse, we add a couple traits to this being, which sort of started out just like the blank, the thing that you would have at the beginning of a character creator in a video game. And every apocalypse, we add 2 traits to it that we feel like would help you survive that apocalypse. But we're specifically avoiding it being like too OP. Like it can't be that you can shoot lasers out of your fingers. And I think we generally try to keep it as like things that would be possible within the universe of the movie as well. Anything else you want to add to that?
Well, thinking back on it now, did we break that rule with Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Because there's no way Starbucks was around at that point.
Well, now hold on. Let's look it up.
There is no way
Starbucks.
Starbucks was around. Morgan,
Starbucks.
this is a fruitless effort, my friend.
Starbucks.
I will eat my
Starbucks.
shorts if Starbucks was around.
Starbucks. Okay, so to give context for what I'm looking up right now. So the first episode with the 2 traits we added was that the unkillable being, they have a pet pug and basic computer skills. And then the second episode was Ron, do you want to take it away? What was the second episode?
Yeah, sure. In the second episode, we gave the unkillable being a good poker face and a $50 Starbucks gift card. Now, if you want to know why those things made sense, check out episodes 1 and 2 of Apocalypse Now.
Hey,
but for
there's the
now,
hook.
Morden
All right,
is checking out if...
all right, motherfucker. Starbucks was
Okay.
founded in 1971. Invasion of the Body Snatchers came out in 1978. We are clear.
Oh my god, I have to eat my shorts? Are you... Oh my...
Eat them. Put them in your mouth. Yeah, it originally opened in Seattle, Washington on March 30th. Are you actually eating your shorts?
There's a big gas lag. We're good now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, they were only in Seattle at that time, so I don't know where. But let's say in the world that the unkillable being would be living in Seattle.
All right. That doesn't count for one of the things today.
No. It's not a quality. It's just an excuse that we're making. So currently
it's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, exactly. Currently, the unkillable being has a pet pug, basic computer skills, a Starbucks gift card, and a poker face. So it's just...
Now let's lay out again.
It also has some
dangers of
chunky
this world.
sweaters and a scarf, and and has signs that say "Live, Laugh, Love."
Let's lay out some of the dangers of this world again, where most of humanity is living in underground bunkers, in small little. Well, in America, we have no idea really what it looks like outside of America.
This is true.
They're in these little collectives in underground bunkers because there's a threat above ground of these mutated, cold-blooded creatures that want to hurt and eat them. The majority of them want to hurt and eat them. If it wasn't already covered with pet pug, I would say a dog would be helpful because very early into his foray into the surface, he finds a dog boy who saves his life literally quite a couple times. But we can't do that. We already got a dog.
Just to make sure you know, the dog is named Boy. He doesn't find a dog boy.
That's my answer. A dog boy would really help in the apocalypse.
He has a dog boy. Hmm.
I mean, I guess like the obvious answer would be to have a collection of the weaknesses of the enemy, like a running list. But that also seems
Yeah,
kind of
that
like a
seems like too
basic
much.
answer.
Well, here's the thing. How do we feel about adding things that the character actually has within the movie that ends up helping them?
Like a grenade?
No, like a sketchbook. I'm gonna put in my vote for sketchbook because that
Okay.
takes us farther into the world of that. So far, our unkillable being is like the stereotype of a basic white girl at the moment.
So let's assume that with the sketchbook are watercolor pencils, because that's a moment in the movie is like he's gifted these watercolor pencils by his
Yeah,
love.
yeah,
So it's a sketch. I'll say that's like a 2-in-1. Yeah, it's like you can't really use a
yeah, yeah,
sketchbook without watercolor. So you want to lock in your answer?
yeah. My vote for the unkillable being is that they have a sketchbook and either I don't know, colored pencils, watercolors. What do we want to say?
Colored pencils.
Colored pencils. A set of colored pencils.
And I would like to lock in that I think you're wrong and stupid and dumb. And that answer doesn't make any sense.
It helps him. He's able to document what all the animals do. All right. Well, then what's your vote, Ron? A dumbass grenade or some shit?
It literally saved his life.
So did the sketchbook.
What about this? What if I say good marksmanship? That's not like a overpowered thing, I don't think. It's pretty
Good
versatile and
aim.
useful.
Good aim.
That's what I mean. That's what marksmanship is. Is it not?
Well, I feel like marksmanship is more general. It's like you're good. You're specifically good with like guns and stuff. Whereas like good aim is
Skill.
like it might be as simple as like you're really good at darts or something.
Okay. All right. Because in the movie, when Cutie first goes to the surface, he has a bow and arrow, but he's missing all his shots, y'all. It's kind of he's no Green Arrow, he's no
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye, he's no Kate
Mm-hmm.
Bishop, he's no. Hold on,
Keep going. Keep going.
hold on. He's no Katniss Everdeen.
Good.
He's
Keep going.
hold on. He's no Robin Hood.
Good.
Hold on. He's no Merida from Brave. Hold on.
Good.
Hold on. He's
Keep going.
he's no he's no Legolas. Hold on.
Good.
Hold
Good.
on.
Good.
Hold on. Hold on. He's no Apollo. Hold on.
Woo.
Hold on. He's no hold on. He's no Link from The Legend of Zelda.
Yep.
Hold on.
He's no Ted
Hold on.
Lasso.
He's I don't get that reference. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. He's
no William Tell.
He's no William Tell. Right? He's not hitting his shots. They're limp arrows. They're way off the mark. It's
they're
like,
limp.
come on.
They're limp arrows.
Yeah.
They're like wobbly arrows.
He's impotent. All right.
Oh
He doesn't
my
have
God.
that third
I
ball.
can't get over the
about.
image of like a floppy arrow now.
Oh God.
Anyway, yeah, no, he's not good.
Not good. But Scrappy teaches him how. Scrappy and Yondu teach him how to find the heart of the card so that his aim may be true and his arrows stiff and solid. And it comes in.
May your
handy
aim
quite a
be
bit.
true and your arrow be stiff. So yeah, like good aim.
I think aim is pretty good too because it's open, like you were saying. Like you don't just hand them a gun or a bow and arrow and then otherwise they're screwed. It's like, yeah, here's a baseball or a rock or a dart.
Yeah, right, for sure. It's just like if you aim at the thing, you're probably gonna bane it.
Yeah. So okay, I'm gonna lock in my answer. I'm gonna give the unkillable being. I'm gonna give Yubi. Good aim.
Good aim. Good aim. So far, we have a pug, a basic computer skills, a Starbucks
$50 Starbucks gift card.
$50
Good poker
Starbucks,
face.
good poker face, good aim,
And a sketchbook with watercolor pencils.
Yeah. Sweet.
That is That's like a slightly interesting college student.
Sounds like a person I could hang out with, to be honest.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, this person sounds like I'd like to have them at a party. They sound cool.
Right now they seem a little lame to me. Just that, not lame like the things we've chosen are lame, but there's just literally not more to them right now. Like that's it. You're like, so
Right.
what else are you into? I have really good aim. You said that like 3 things ago. I have basic computer knowledge.
Look at my art.
We didn't even write that they are good at art though. They just have a sketchbook.
This is true. And I feel like that's too far a leap. Like they can't have the skill and
Yeah.
also the thing.
Yeah, that's why we had to give them good aim instead of
Damn
just
it.
giving them a gun. Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have the sketchbook,
Later
but
on.
they can't necessarily
draw short.
draw well in it yet. But man, their aim, so they can really get the pencil on the paper, man.
They aren't missing. No, they're not going to hit any part of the cover. It's pure paper, baby.
Oh, that feels like a good place. Feels like a good place to be. We've left ourselves a lot of room here. This is gonna, this podcast is gonna go on for years. We're gonna have tons of time to make this thing real badass.
Oh yeah.